if I don't see you, you don't exist. So yes, I'm being kind of goofy in this video, and also it's a truth for me. And this was brought on by a gal named Courtney Mermaid, who is a much more popular influencer than I on YouTube. And what she was talking about was this funny little quirk that she has, which I also share. Essentially, and I know this is kind of ridiculous on some level, and it's also just how my brain has always operated, whether I like it or not. What she was saying was, essentially, that if, this is so ridiculous, if she doesn't see you, then you don't exist. And what she was talking about specifically was friendships, and how essentially in her daily life, if you're not interacting with her in some form or fashion, like directly, that she essentially forgets that you exist. And I laugh about it because on some level that's true for me as well. And I absolutely cackled out loud when I heard her say it because I thought it was just me. And it turns out it's not. So if you happen to share this view, that if you don't see people, they don't exist, I wanted to sort of comedically bring it up because, as you guys know, I'm on the spectrum more than likely. We don't know this for a fact yet. I may get diagnosed eventually, whatever. It's not a high level of importance to me right now. In the meantime, the point of me saying that is that it was very comical to me that she mentioned that this specific thing, because for me, that's always been a thing. And it wasn't really something that I guess I realized maybe until that moment. And that's why it busted up my gut laughing because, oh my God, that is so very much me. So very much. The comedy of it is that it's not personal. It's not like, oh, well, I don't like you anymore because you're not here. It's simply a horse with blinders whereby anything external to these walls just doesn't get seen. I want to enforce this point, especially if you happen to be somebody that I care about that might be watching this. Know that I don't just forget about you entirely. However, it is kind of a challenge of mine that I get to engage more with the people that I really love, because if I don't, they're not in my present reality. And it's something that it just struck me as so funny because to me, again, it's very much almost literal to the point where you have to be in my physical presence. You don't have to be. It helps a lot though. After a point, right, if you want to have a certain level of relationship with me, things have to progress to the next level whereby we actually have a relationship in person. Do you know what I mean? By we have coffee or we go whatever, right? Where you exist in my physical reality. You don't just exist on a screen like you and I do right now. Although I consider you all friends, by the way, I do want to add that. And I know that might not be a common thing. However, listen, as I always say, you guys, as I, are all unique expressions of the divine. And therefore, I spent so much of my life being afraid to connect and being just feeling like I was an oddball out there. And I want to connect to people. And I want to share these things that have helped from my life, that have helped to get me here. Because a lot of people, they look at me and they think I have everything together. And to that end, I want to say I do not have it all together. I have what I have together, and the rest of it, I'm figuring out along the way. Probably like the rest of you. You know, we are all doing the best that we can. So to come back to the point, I just wanted to make this very quick comedic video about the fact that, interestingly and comedically in my life, a lot of the time, if I don't see you, and now I guess you could say thanks to the whole pandemic, I got used to Zoom. And therefore, it's a little bit like kind of okay for me to have deeper relationships more meaningfully on Zoom. However, I will say that the ultimate fun, the best relationships that I have are the ones that are in person. And it's been both a hurdling thing for me in my life and a funny thing as per right now. You know, you were getting some comedy out of this because I don't know why I'm wired that way. And I'm not saying that that will forever be the case. It's very much in many ways, it's not the case. To a very large extent, if I don't see you, then I may not check back in for some time. And oftentimes that happens when I get very into a passion project. If I become very into my art or very into my writing, sometimes you'll lose me for a month at a time. And it's not because I don't suddenly love my friends. It's just because all I see for that time is my blindered version of the world, which is probably eat, sleep, breathe that vision. And yeah, that usually, unfortunately for me anyway, tends to be at the expense of my social life. What are you gonna do? That's the life of an artist, I guess. my type of artistry, my type of craft, whatever it is that I do. Like I said, I do have a crafts business. I guess it's a crafts business, whatever. It will eventually be other things that are more like about sustainability and so forth. For now, my business is making candles and calendars, and I thought I would share that here because if you guys do happen to want a 100% soy candle with herbs, the herbs that I use are rose and lavender. If you happen to want one of those candles, reach out to me because I also do sell those on the regular in my town and so on and so forth. I thought to myself, you know what? Why not mention it to them? Because the people online are actual people. This plays into the haha, if I don't see you, you're not there thing. You know, just because I don't see you doesn't mean that you're not there. And so I thought, although I see the people in my town and I can sell candles to them, if you guys are interested in the candles, just let me know. So anyway, that was a tangent I didn't intend so much to go on. But it is important that you guys know what I am up to because there's nothing for me to hide anyways, and my goal in life is to share the lessons from my life, and that does include comedy. And this to me was very funny because it was, yes, a sobering realization about myself, and also very, very funny on some level because I'm not, you know, I'm not a horse. I don't have blinders on, and yet in some weird version of my reality, at times I'm very much, what is it called in, you learn about it in like psychology, in either high school or college. When babies are growing up, there's a phase they go through where they're experiencing object permanence, and which is essentially the idea that this pen is here, but to a baby, if you take this pen away, they're like, oh, where did it go? Magic, it disappeared. Now we all know, because we have developed object permanence, we know that the pen is still there, it's just behind my back and we can't see it. To the baby, it is completely evaporated. Whereas again, we know that the pen will come back. So when they're developing this, it's sort of like that. So if you're not right in front of my face, I'm like the baby. I'm like, you don't exist. So that to me was very funny. And I wanted to share that little peek into my life, that little tidbit about me, as well as just kind of make fun of myself because it is kind of funny. And also just, I guess, as a PSA, like, hey, to my friends and family, if you know me, don't take it personally because it is 100% all about my passions and not at all about you in a respectful way. It's not about you. It just means that Emily has become self-centered and absorbed into some project or something, and that she is feeling a lot of excitement for, and the blinders to the rest of the world have gone on. So I hope that you've enjoyed this brief and comedic video that if I don't see you, you don't exist. Comment down below. Are you like this, or do you have the ability to have object permanence with people? And in fact, know that even if you don't see them, they do in fact still exist. I'm joking. Comment down below because I actually want to know how you guys are with this. I'm very curious to know if I'm alone in this, or if many of us in my community anyway share this. So share your thoughts. Subscribe because I upload daily, and you guys know I want to bring lessons and life and meditations to you guys so that you have a better, more beautiful, more easeful life. And if you do need support, feel free to reach out at this email address where it would be my pleasure to serve you. And again, subscribe. It really helps out a small content creator like myself making the daily videos. So with that, have a beautiful and blessed rest of your day, and I will see you gorgeous cats in the next video. Namaste and much love. Bye. Or out or on. They're on me. I am wearing the blinders. Whatever, you guys get the point. If I don't, let's see, I do not have it all together. Not have to. It's like, but. You don't have to be. It helps a lot though. If you don't see people, they don't exist. Unique expressions of the divine, where you exist in my physical reality. You don't just exist on a screen like you and I do right now.